There's always self-doubt, but the fact is that entrepreneurs are brilliant liars to themselves.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for episode 5 of 12 TV, where we chat business, branding, and marketing. Today we have Sean Farmer with us. He is the owner and CEO of Suits by Curtis Eliot. He runs the International Beerfest, which is Western Canada's largest indoor beer festival. And he has been featured on CTV, Vibe Magazine, and Alberta Venture Magazine.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I think we met back in high school.
Yeah, and the great debate of if it was in Chem 20, and we both seem to think it was probably not, because I don't think I ever graduated with chemistry, but it was definitely in high school.
I think we were both there for a brief time in that class.
Absolutely.
But fast forward many years as we're getting old here. You have some super exciting businesses
absolutely.
That keep you busy. I'm going to start with Beerfest. Can you tell us about what Beerfest is?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's all about the beer. So it's a celebration of beer from around the world. So it's really pure when it kind of has one singular focus. What we've ended up doing is taking that sort of the craft beer movement that's happened in Alberta, and we've put that into a trade show / festival. So taking a trade show, combining music, adding education, and then adding to some really cool sort of inside events that happen. It's in its 12th year, and we serve I think roughly 13,000 people last year.
That's a lot of people.
It's a ton of people, and I mean the market has definitely increased in terms of the want for people to drink more beer and to try more different products. So every year we're kind of looking to grow, and every year we're looking for more fun things to do.
Do you have vendors from just like in town, or for craft breweries like everywhere?
Yeah, it's international. So we got guys from all over the world. We've had anyone from the creator of Innocent Gun. We've had guys from local is obviously something that people are really into right now, but from all over the world.
Okay. I actually see, it's Shaw Conference. I see the big lineups that are outside.
Yeah, we've actually tried a lot to minimize the lineups. That's been an initiative for the last few years.
It's so popular.
Of course.
What are some of the huge hurdles? Like, I remember first year, I think we kind of worked together on some of the pieces for that. Yeah. What was the big hurdles that you came into before you had those huge lineups, like getting the word out there to bring people to the festival?
To be honest, like the biggest hurdle in the event business is sort of to learn as much as you can in a short amount of time and then apply it to the next year. So because it's such a small time frame that you have to kind of educate yourself in that business and the operations of it, you kind of have to take as much in as possible and then apply it to the next year's operations. The marketing itself is actually something that started very ground level and very street level. So it was, the first show was back, 2005 or 2006 at Dinwiddie Lounge on U of A campus. We anticipated, I think, 600 people, and the reality is that I didn't have any budget. I didn't have any real, experience putting on a ton of events or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I had, I think, $2,000 in my pocket, and I had, a real hustle to get things done. So in turn, I took that $2,000. I split it between print, and I took a sort of at the time an unknown radio station, which is now Sonic Radio, and put the other half into that. And I basically sat on campus for 2 weeks and just sort of grinded it out, doing some real street level stuff, handing out flyers, telling people about the event, and trying to get as much free coverage as I could.
So was it difficult to get sponsors for that first event too?
Yeah, the first year's event, you kind of have to, it definitely took a lot to convince people that what I was doing was unique, especially unique enough for them to sponsor the event. So, being able to sit there and talk passionately about something that you can paint a nice picture for definitely helps.
Right.
It really boiled down to having some hustle.
What I really like is some people are too worried to get started because they might only have that $2,000, and they're like, well, that's not enough to put on a big production or bring in XYZ sponsors, vendors, performances, whatever the case is. But you kind of just went ahead and I'm going to work with what I got, I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm going to start it and see how that goes and learn along the way versus just not doing it at all.
That's exactly it. I mean, I actually did, I spoke on a panel with the guys over at ATV a couple weeks ago, and the main question that I got asked was, what do you tell entrepreneurs that really want to start something new? And it's just get out there and sell something. Like every business starts really innocently. It starts with selling one suit. It starts with selling one ticket, and then as things get busier and more and more excited, I guess, in terms of business, then more things happen. Then the whole back end of the business happens. Then you start marketing things, but it starts with selling one ticket. It starts with selling one suit.
Has to start with that first step.
Of course.
Right.
So my usual recommendation is to just get out there and start doing it. Sell something.
12 years later.
Yep.
How has it evolved?
Well, it went from Dinwiddie Lounge, 600 person capacity, to, and I think about 5,000 square feet, to this year will be, I think, 80,000 square feet at the Shaw Conference Center, about 400 beers, 120 vendors, 5 bands. We have a beer school. We have a craft beer village. We have a bacon festival happening within the show.
Tell us about the bacon festival.
Well, what, to be honest, that's a unique thing that's happening within it. So it's basically it's an additive to the show. So
right.
It's to kind of feature bacon combined with beer and then talk about those things.
How'd that happen?
To be honest, there was a bacon festival that happened already in Alberta or in Edmonton, and it's just tough to have something so niche like that independent on its own, and so it wasn't really gaining the notoriety it deserved based on the fact that it was just bacon. So I spoke to the producers of it this year, and in turn we're kind of combining that with Beerfest to help help propel it into something that's a little bit more sustainable on its own.
I think a lot of people are going to be excited about that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean it's one of the unique kind of areas. So we have the craft beer village, we have the beer school, we have our stage, and then we have this bacon festival.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you have another business, Suits by Curtis Eliot, which I
Yep.
see you're nicely suited up here.
Yeah, it comes with the turf. Yeah.
Could you tell us about the business? Maybe I'm actually curious about the name. Can you tell us about how you come up with the
Sure.
name too?
Well, Eliot's my middle name and Curtis is a family name. Basically, the idea being that I have a business history that's evolved from anything from hospitality to beverage to promotions to anything like that. And my sort of my kind of great perspective on all of it is that if you name something after yourself, it's really hard to kind of grow out of operating the business. People will continually show up looking for Sean Farmer if it's Suits by Sean Farmer.
Right.
Not to mention Farmer just didn't really paint the right imagery at the beginning. So there was strategy behind it, and it was to make it so that I didn't have to operate every single showroom, and that it didn't have to just include me in every single sale.
Right. So it's not a off the rack, brick and mortar retail front.
No.
So could you tell us about the business and its unique model?
Yeah, basically that's really what makes us something special, is that we have a very unique business model. We are roughly 700 square feet. We're hidden. We're not in a mall. We're not sort of in a typical shopping or retail center. You really have to know we're a destination place. We're appointment based, and we make custom clothes. Okay. And in turn,
custom tailored suits.
Suits, shirts, jackets, anything with structure that isn't like a t-shirt and jeans.
Right. So what inspired you to start? There's a lot of people sell suits.
Of course, yeah.
Right? There's A to B.
Yeah.
Why? What's different about your business, and why do you think there was a gap where you could get in there and get started with custom tailored suits? Everything's custom.
Of course.
Right. So.
To be honest, when it was a while back, and I mean, marketing is what I've always really liked to do, and I used to hear of these Hong Kong tailors that would set up in different hotels, and they would do their fittings, and all the downtown guys used to whisper about how you could get these high quality suits from these Hong Kong tailors at a really discounted price, but they didn't really advertise. It was just sort of this buzz effect that happened.
Actually, I remember this. Some people were talking about this and whispering about it, and
Yeah.
they said, you know what, you can get your initials on your customer inside of your
That's
suit.
exactly it,
Those are little
right?
details. People were like, I want that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So in turn, I mean, that really piqued my curiosity, just because marketing is something that I've really enjoyed, and I've really kind of is one of my strong suits. So when I sort of started to see the buzz that would happen in the downtown with these guys, it sat in the back of my head. And at the time, I was still a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy. But based on the business that I kind of gotten myself into at the time, I had to start finding reasonably priced, formal wear for myself and some of the staff. And basically, to expect my staff to pay $2,000 for a suit was unreasonable. So trying to do some exploring overseas, I started looking into different parts of the world, and then kind of add some travel into it. You start seeing these business models all over the world, and the fact is that they just don't exist here.
Right.
This same business model exists everywhere in Southeast Asia, everywhere in China. It just didn't exist here. The closest thing you had was someone sitting in a mall. Making you a $5,000 suit, not a reasonably priced one.
Right.
Yeah.
And before the showrooms in Edmonton and Calgary, right? How'd you get the word out there? It was appointment based only, but there had to be some kind of ground level hustle to get that brand out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it like I said, it always just starts with selling one suit. So the fact is that it started with selling a suit. It started with basically just taking really good care of customers.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just about the sales, it was about providing a good quality experience and then making sure that you're taking care of people and so that they then want to spread the word.
Right.
And so the fact is that it was purely ground level. It was straight buzz marketing.
Yeah. And then now, fast forward this year, I think I saw a billboard on Rogers at the huge one, the big one that wraps around the arena.
Yeah, honestly, we don't really do much advertising, but that was sort of something fun. We were able to get our mitts on, and I'm glad we did it.
Cool. Yeah. Actually, I had a client here yesterday who said they ordered 4 suits from you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you kind of get one suit from us, you start kind of rebuilding your entire closet. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Cool. So tell us about the process.
Sure.
They come to your showroom. I hear you have a lot of different ways to make sure it custom fits exactly.
Yeah. The best way to do it, obviously, is we were the first ones to do body scanning in Canada, so we had a body scanner that was really fancy. Right now, what we do is we do hand measurements because we found that those are actually better at producing a quality product. So. Basically, people make an appointment, they show up for their appointment, and we have someone that will actually walk you through the process. So we show you different styles, we show you different fabrics, and we try to sort of get your necessity of, or what you need out of that suit, and then try to build you what you need. So something, we guide you through the whole process.
So they pick the materials, then it gets sent off to get made.
Of course.
It comes back. And they get fitted again, or?
Yeah, and so what happens is, we build the style, we build the fashion, we build the colors, all the little details. We send that off to our factory produces it, it comes back, you come in and try it on, and then there's usually a couple alterations the first time through, but following that, what ends up happening is, once you've walked away with your product that fits, we can usually just replicate that same pattern over and over.
So you keep the profile.
You got it.
So someone can call you up and be like, I need a suit for this occasion, this
That's
color.
Exactly it, yeah.
And you're, guys will make it happen.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool. How long does it take to get that suit?
You know what? Typically we aim for 3 weeks.
Right.
When we're really hustling and things are going well, we can, 2 to 3 weeks is where we want to be. That being said, is when we get backlogs, sometimes, 2 to 3 weeks is what we aim for. Sometimes it's a little longer.
Right. Not too far off from, or better than some people in town, right?
That's exactly it. I think we are usually the fastest that can produce. When things are really cooking, we can get it down to 7 or 8 days.
Wow. What's the average price point?
$725 for a suit.
So very reasonable.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of our business model is that we want to be able to charge people a reasonable price because we don't want to hang all the money we make on the wall. Anyone can have a really expensive showroom and then hang their $5,000 suits where they sit there and rot.
Yeah.
The idea being is that our business model allows for better customer experience, a better product, and a more affordable price.
More people dressed well too.
That's exactly it. When it's $5,000 or $2,000 for a suit, you have one of them every 5 years or every 10 years.
Yeah.
When it's $725 for a suit, the idea is that we can create fashion that's cost effective and friendly enough that we can get it to you, and you can turn it into everyday wear. So as we talked about earlier, people used to see Calgary as more of a suit and tie kind of place, whereas, you know, when we opened up business, I really do think that the landscape of what Edmonton looks like has changed drastically. Like we make more suits out of our little shop than anyone that I've found across Western Canada.
Yeah,
you know, we do hundreds and hundreds of suits. So the fact is that when it's affordable, people will wear them more often.
Right, and you start to see that it's a feeling that comes along with wearing a suit too.
Of course,
you know, you just feel confident when you're in a good suit.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you feel powerful.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you know, you mentioned the landscape changing, like with downtown changing the way it is here. I see it more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when like I always say, when you're wearing a suit, like and it just sort of feels and looks proper. It's just like you walk around looking to fire people. You're looking to make moves. Like it's something that makes you feel confident.
It does, yeah.
And the fact is that the more people that wear them, you know, the idea being that it's, you know, once you get one, then hopefully your whole closet sort of fills up with them, and you know, you're the more confident version of yourself every single day.
That's awesome. You mentioned, or you know, I saw also on your site, I believe, your factory is in Hong Kong, or just outside of Hong Kong?
Yeah, just outside of Hong Kong, yeah.
How did you, I think this is a question a lot of people have when they're trying to start their online business, whether it be suits, clothes, shirts, socks, whatever they may be, anything that needs to get sourced to Asia or anywhere in the world. How do you find that right partner? And that's always a big struggle, I think, right? So
I don't think there's like one answer to that. I think that there's, you know, to find the right partner means that you have to have some, you know, it usually starts with some R&D. It usually starts with you know, shaking some hands. You know, I've gone through 4 or 5 different suppliers to get to the supplier that we use now.
Right.
And the fact is that I've met all those suppliers in different ways. You know, some of them it's online, going to, you know, some of those online marketplaces, seeing how you can talk to these people, seeing if they can produce under the specifications you need. Other times it's at trade shows. Sometimes it's actually traveling to the countries. There's no one answer. You know, all of them work, and all of those have been a supplier at different points.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've actually been to the factories and take a look and meet, shake the hands. Yeah. And I think it's a big thing, right? You have to have that nice partnership there.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be, you know, like there has to be some level of communication. There has to be contracts. There has to be all that fun stuff, and there has to be some certification from all your suppliers. If you can get all those things in, then you're happy. If you don't have those things, you need to go out and find them.
Was there a roadblock or horror story that happened one of your earlier suppliers you know, parted ways from, that could be a learning lesson that someone should be looking out for?
One of my first suppliers, I had basically, so I started this business doing mobile tailor stuff. So I would travel around. I would set up well, I guess I started the R&D for it as a mobile tailor, and so I would set up at different conference centers, different hotels. Take, you know, I think my best was 100 appointments in 2 days, and so, you know, I took these 100 appointments and I had all my order sheets, and my supplier, because it was such a small supplier, his son phoned me and goes, yeah, sorry, my father's had a heart attack. And you know, we need to take whatever it was in terms of being able to produce it in our 4 weeks or 8 weeks that he had originally quoted me, and basically he needed to triple that.
Right.
But the fact is that what ended up happening is I had 100 orders of people that had already paid, customers that had already expected product. So I basically had to hop on a plane the next day, go to it was Thailand at the time, find a new supplier in a week and get him to make these 100 and some orders.
Wow.
At the same time, that same person that I got to make that 100 and some orders, the orders that, like, they hit their capacity way too quickly. Mm-hmm. So in turn, what was happening is the quality of product just wasn't there. You know, like one sleeve would be 3 inches longer than the other sleeve because they didn't have the process to do their quality checks, right?
Yeah.
So when a supplier doesn't have that, it becomes much more difficult.
Have you ever doubted yourself? Like, you grew quite a bit in the past few years. Have you doubted yourself, or there's a point where you're like, should I be doing this? Should I stop? You know, or do I keep going? You know, self-doubt sometimes that happens, right, when running a business. Yeah,
I mean, everyone goes through it at certain points, and it's usually when cash is tight, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is that like like I've always been a big believer in the power of positivity, you know, and it's like when you can just sort of focus on the future instead of just looking in the rearview mirror at what all the bills or whatever the hell it may be, you'll end up getting to where you need to go, and you'll get there faster when you can just keep focused.
Yeah.
So there's always self-doubt, but the fact is that entrepreneurs are brilliant liars to themselves. and they tell themselves what they need to hear so that they can push through all those different pain points that would slow up everyone else.
Yeah. What I heard yesterday was something I was listening to is that you can't see the target, you can't hit the targets. You always have to have that target in sight to make sure you're in that path, that direction.
Yeah, you have to paint that picture, right?
Sure.
And you have to paint it for yourself, you have to paint it for your staff, you have to paint it and you have to repeatedly look at it.
Right.
Because otherwise you have not chasing the same target as the rest of either your team, or you end up getting distracted.
2017, I see you were in New York Fashion Week. That's a huge jump from mobile tailors to small.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So, and also, yeah, some NHL players are suited out in your suits too, right?
Yeah, we have NHL players, we have musicians, we have everyone.
Everyone.
It's very cool.
Tell me about New York Fashion Week.
Sure.
Was that exciting?
It's interesting. It's New York. It's fashion. It's it's what was it? The Devil Wears Prada. Whatever the hell it may be. It's fun stuff, but it's it's what you make of it, right? It's a good learning experience, and it's definitely it definitely teaches you how to be in fashion,
right?
And so it's a good experience.
You were mixed in with some of the biggest labels in the world, right?
Of course, yeah.
How was it? What did you learn? What were your big takeaways from it?
My big takeaway would be, I don't know, probably have more media coverage, because it's so far away, getting the PR behind it was something I wish, in hindsight, I wish we had more of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like documenting the process as well too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Single key to success and growth. You guys grew pretty fast in this short period of time, with a very unique business model too.
Yeah.
Maybe not trying to test it just yet, right? When you started, what was your single key to success there?
Single key to success. I honestly do think it boils down to goal setting and chasing those goals. It's not about one specific thing. It's just about if the goal is find good people, then the goal is find good people, and then chase that until you've got the good people. If the goal then needs to be better your process, make sure that the customer experience is there, then you need to chase that, and then making sure that the things that you're going after are something that your client really wants. So like with suits, it was always about creating a better, giving people a better experience, giving people a better product, and giving them and doing that with brilliant people. So in order to kind of take those on all at once was something that was difficult, and in a small business it was kind of easy. As we get busier and bigger, it's much harder. So we kind of have to narrow our focus and go, okay, now we're taking on people, now we're taking on process, now we're taking on experience, now we're taking on product.
For what I'm hearing is people is that your team around you is the key.
Of course.
100% the key, right?
Yeah, the people for sure.
Yeah. You started business at a young age. You kind of didn't go the normal route. Like I seen you when you're younger, you're like, hey, I'm going to try all these new things. Especially with Beerfest 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
What made you take that jump versus, I don't know, the normal, I'm working.
I hate getting up early. I hate getting up early. I hate dealing with things like sitting in a box all day, working at a computer all day. That's not what I do best.
Right.
I want to work at my own pace. I want to work while I'm watching TV. I want to deal with business the way I want to deal with it, and doing it, being thrown in a box and being told how to do things. It's never been the way it goes. I took marketing at NAIT for I signed up to actually graduate, but in reality is that I was so exhausted after a month of it is that I dropped out.
After a month?
I think it was maybe 2 months, but it wasn't for me, right?
Right.
So kind of conforming to what everyone else did was just not for me, and so trying to kind of make it on my own was what it was always about.
Right. We talked about goals briefly, and having something to reach for. Mm-hmm. Is there a process? Is there like a morning routine or a process or a daily routine? Some people do it at night, some people do it in the mornings, some people do both. That they goal set every day, follow this. Is there something that you're willing to share that keeps you focused?
What? I do my to-do lists at night.
Yeah.
And in that to-do list is usually a goal for the next day. Okay. So I have long-term goals, I have short-term goals, and I have dailies.
Right.
And then I always make sure that all of those things are very positive. Like that, and that's 100%. I would say if there was one sort of key that people don't recognize, is that when you keep it positive, you keep yourself motivated.
Right.
And when you keep yourself motivated, you can keep knocking down doors and kicking down opportunity and saying, hey, let's see what we can do. As opposed to when your goal is just to do the nitty gritty, grind it out, and do whatever the hell it is. You're not inspired.
Right.
And so if you can keep yourself inspired by creating positive to-do lists, positive goals, and then, productively go through them every single day, you're money.
Cool. What's next for Suits by Curtis Eliot?
I think what we aim to do is actually sort of build out our processes so that we can replicate the model over and over and over again, as opposed to I really do think our business model and our product and the way we operate is unique enough that they could exist everywhere.
Right.
But
so more showrooms, different cities?
More showrooms, but we need to, so bettering our process, bettering our product and all those things so that we can template it.
Okay. What are some cities you're looking to get to?
You know what, my personal goal is to have a showroom in New York, just because I love New York. So I want one in New York and LA, so I can spend my time in both in the biggest city and then the
warmer city than here.
Right? Yeah. Well, they're also fashion centers of the world, right? So and they follow different lines of fashion.
Right.
So in New York, you'll see very different clothing than you will in LA, but they're both, oddly enough. As Canadians, we look to both New York and to LA for our fashion sense.
Right. And you talk about those two cities, and what brings to mind is influencer marketing, and a lot of influencers living in these cities now.
Yeah.
How have you dove into that at all?
Yeah, we have honestly, our marketing has never really been about online.
Right.
It's always been about doing really brilliant things to the point where people talk about our product and our people and their experience. So yes, we've had influencers wear our product, we've had celebrities wear our product, but that's not what sells our product.
Right.
You being happy in our product and then telling your friends about how what a great experience you had and what a brilliant suit you're wearing, that's what sells our product.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right. Just give the best value to every single person.
That's it.
They will spread the word.
Great value, right?
Right. 100%. You spoke about positivity. I'm going to switch to a personal level, other than business, a little bit. Are there some people that you maybe some books or some people that you follow that have the same kind of mantra about positivity that you could recommend to some of our viewers?
You know what? I've read. I would like to say I read a ton of books, but the fact is that I start a ton of books, and I'm sort of in the middle of a lot of them. I get bored with some of them, and then I pick them up. The Jim Treliving's Decisions was a brilliant book. I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss. He's just fun to read.
You have his newest book, Mentors?
No, I don't think I do.
Pick that up either. Yeah,
there you go. Well, I just like how easy it was to read. What else? There's a lot of business books that I've read in the last little while. There's,
Yeah. Okay. Aside from running business, it's a 24/7 job, right? In the same position. What do you do for fun?
You know what? I kickbox, I box, I'm a martial artist, and I try to keep active.
You train with one of our mutual friends.
Yeah.
Peter, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I see that.
So and that's exactly it. So everyone needs their version of meditation. So either you actually meditate, or you need to find something sort of to sweat it out at the end of the day. Otherwise, all the pent up energy from your day of keeping yourself positive, kicking down doors, and finding opportunity for yourself gets to be a lot, right?
So fitness is a good balance. Helps a good balance in life.
Fitness, yeah, and then finding some peace and quiet with your friends and family for sure.
Awesome. Where do we find you? I think Beerfest is coming up real fast here.
Yeah,
where do we find both companies?
Beerfest Facebook is ridiculous, so I think we have 25,000 people that follow us at this point. But go online, internationalbeerfest.com, suitsbycurtiseliot.com, and it's Eliot in Elliot, or you can find us on all the majors. So you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram.
We'll add those links to the video.
Totally.
Yeah.
But but our websites are obviously king.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming down.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it was great.
Cool.
Another year, let's get it. Another year, get better. Blood and tears get shedded. The sweating coming with the music though. Speaking with my feelings in it, with nowhere near regretting it. And what I smoke it right is therapeutic. And she wanna leave 'cause she require my mind. I'm focused on success and that requires my time.